Welcome, I'm Jeremy Werner. I'm the Corporate Vice President and General Manager of Micron's storage business. I'm here today with my good friend, Alistair Symon, who's the Vice President of the System Storage Development at IBM.
Thank you, Jeremy. It's great to be here chatting to you today.
Great to have you here.
Yep.
So today we're going to talk a little bit about two long-time technology leaders. Micron's been developing technology for over 45 years, and IBM well over
100 years. Yes.
Well over 100. So everyone knows IBM, Big Blue, and they're still at it after all these years. And Alistair's team develops IBM FlashSystem storage. So maybe we could start, you could tell the audience a little bit, what is IBM FlashSystem storage?
Yeah, so the IBM FlashSystem storage really is an all-flash array that can handle all of the data center's workloads from the very, very small to the exceptionally large. And it does so in a very unique way. You can pick the hardware platform that you want that's going to deliver the capacity and performance. So we'll have a low-end one for lower performance. We have a mid-range one for mid-range performance and capacity. And then we have a high-end one for enterprise workloads and large capacity systems. And what's unique about that is that we do it all with one code environment that runs across all of those different hardware platforms. So a storage administrator only has to learn one user interface to operate all these storage systems, no matter whether it's the low-end model to the high-end model. And the other thing about these systems that's really great is we're the industry leader in price performance, we're the industry leader in density and sustainability, and the industry leader in cyber resiliency. And we do all of that centrally because of something we've developed called the FlashCore module.
Now, I know what a FlashCore module is, but maybe not everyone knows what a FlashCore module is. So what is so special about these FlashCore modules, which are at the heart of the IBM system storage?
Okay, so what I call a FlashCore module is really a flash drive or an SSD that IBM has developed with its own technology using Micron NAND. And what's special about the SSD that we've developed is it's a computational storage device. So what that enables us to do is two fundamentally key things. One is we can offload computation from the storage controller that would traditionally be done by processors in the storage system. And for example, the way we've done that is with hardware compression inside the FlashCore module. So that lets you do the full performance of very, very high intensive workloads with no performance penalty of compression. And the other thing is we've been able to implement QLC NAND that you can use for enterprise-wide workloads. So we can use QLC throughout our flash systems as one tier of storage. And that brings a number of different benefits to the customers.
Wow. So at the heart of the FlashCore modules is QLC NAND technology. And you know, Micron has a lot of standard SSDs, but you decided to go in another way in order to take advantage of the economics of QLC, right?
Yep, exactly.
What is the secret sauce that enables IBM to bring QLC to market in the data center, but has been a challenge for so many other companies to do that?
Yes, I mean, as you know, Jeremy, I mean, QLC is quite a different NAND technology than TLC. And we had to do a lot of work to make QLC last as long as TLC. QLC can't do as many program erase cycles, so write-intensive workloads would use up those cell life quite quickly. But we had great technology that we acquired in IBM through Texas Memory Systems about 10 years ago, and then working with our IBM research teams, we've developed a number of IP capabilities that essentially will let you extend the life of QLC to that of TLC and also have comparable performance. And the way that we've done that is through looking at things like we've got test stands that will characterize different NAND technology. It will run thousands of program erase cycles. It will work out what's going to happen with that NAND over the life. And also, we've been looking at things like health binning and heat segregation that mean that the most often written data gets onto the healthiest NAND so that it lasts as long as possible.
Interesting.
Yeah, so we've done a lot of different unique IP things. And what this all brings to people is the reason I mentioned we've got the densest storage device in the industry, we have a 38 terabyte flash core module, and we've had it for 2 or 3 years, and only recently has the industry started to bring out 30 terabyte SSDs. We've got the densest drive because of the QLC, and because we offload work from the storage controller processor, like the hardware compression, we don't need such powerful processors, and that means we use less power overall. So we have a great sustainability advantage. And our hardware compression brings all that performance with data reduction, so we get a really good performing storage system out of it.
Now, one of the things that we're talking about today is the FCM4, which is your new generation.
Yes.
The FCM4 uses Micron's 176-layer QLC NAND in it.
Yep.
But it's not the first generation that you've been shipping QLC NAND. So you have a lot of experience shipping QLC already. And I know from our prior conversations, you have a lot of confidence with your visibility into customers' workloads that QLC NAND, as you manage it in the FCMs, meets their requirements. Could you explain a little bit more, first of all, how do you know that it's good enough for your customers' workloads? And secondly, what have you learned to give you that confidence that QLC meets the stringent requirements of the data center enterprise storage space?
So it's a great question. So, I mean, it starts with all the work we do characterizing the NAND and doing all the testing of the systems in IBM, so that we know from our testing that it's really going to last that long. But not only that, we track it obviously when it's in the field. And all of our systems are calling home telemetry all the time back to IBM. And we can see the wear life of these flash core modules that we've shipped with QLC. And we know that they're exactly tracking to the lifespan that we predicted, which is they will not wear out in a 7-year period, no matter how much write data you throw at them. So we know from our own data that it's doing what we said. And we've had those out in the field for over 3 years now, and we've shipped several 100,000 of them. So we know that it's doing really well.
Wow. One of the changes from our 96-layer to our 176-layer NAND is that we moved from floating gate to replacement gate, or sometimes people call it charge trap NAND. And there's certain challenges associated with that technology that collectively we've had to overcome in order to enable the cost scaling. Can you tell me a little bit, what's it been like working with Micron as a supplier and from a technical perspective?
Yeah, well, that's one of the most pleasing things to me, because I think Micron has great technology, great engineering, but you're also incredibly collaborative. So I think it's that collaboration between IBM and Micron that's allowed us to do these amazing things with QLC. For example, you've opened up details of how the NAND works to us that's enabled our research teams and our developers to understand how to elongate the life of QLC to be that of TLC. And that's an incredible thing for two companies to work that closely together. So you've got great engineering and you collaborate really well with us.
Oh, thanks, Alistair. I really appreciate the way that you and your team have worked with Micron as well. It really is the better together mentality, I think, of IBM and Micron brings a better solution to your customers and really provides that value proposition that people are looking for to bend the curve. So one of the analyst firms we follow is a company called Gartner. I'm sure you're familiar with the Magic Quadrant. One of their predictions is that QLC NAND in the data center is going to grow by a factor of 18x from 2023 to 2027. What trends do you see with your customers over that time period? What are you expecting to change?
Yeah, so I think one of the things that's driving that growth that they're saying there is as flash becomes cheaper and cheaper, it starts to get to the point where you can take away some of the market share of the nearline storage disks into flash. Particularly when you've got technology like we have in a flash core module, which can use QLC across all the different workloads and last as long as you need it to, just like disk. And also that you've got the compression capability that can lower your effective cost of ownership to get closer to what a typical nearline disk would do. So I think that's driving a lot of that 18x that they're talking about. And I think the other kind of trends that we see Obviously, we have a trend where people are building hybrid clouds. We've got people who are putting storage on premises in the cloud, and they want to move data between the two. Having one tier of storage like QLC is a means to simplify all of that work for them. And the final thing I would say is the other trend is everybody's worried about cyber attacks, right? So what we can do with technology like a FlashCore module, which is a computational storage device, is we can make it smart. And you'll see some announcements coming out from us that say how we can actually do some ransomware detection using the capabilities of the FCM.
Wow, that's really amazing. So you're able to deliver more technology and more value in the FCM, improve the TCO of the customers, drive into new applications, and simplify their storage architecture into a more unified manner, thereby, I imagine, also reducing their total cost of ownership. Are other flash array vendors catching up with you on QLC? What are they doing?
Well, there's other our competitors are obviously deploying QLC, but they have to do it in a more complicated way. So they don't have the ability to run QLC with enterprise-wide workloads. So if you're using workloads like that, you have to buy a TLC storage system. And if you have a more read-intensive workload, you might buy a QLC-based system. Two different systems, and you've got to decide which one you need. Or if they don't do that, you've got to have QLC and TLC in the same system with some automatic tiering. And that can get complicated when it comes to performance. So we try to make it simple with one QLC NAND that can go across all the different enterprise workloads.
And the computational storage built in is a key enabler.
Exactly,
for that.
exactly.
Right, understood. So I guess we're almost done today, but wanted to see if you had any parting questions or thoughts before we wrap it up.
Yeah, well, first of all, I'd just like to say thank you for the great conversation and also the fantastic partnership that Micron has given IBM as we've built these FlashCore modules. But I'd like to ask you, the same question. What do you see as maybe some of the technology trends that you're worried about or your competition has to be worried about?
Sure. So, we always take our competition seriously, and it drives us to be better every day. We focus very heavily on the technology development and driving it forward. But I think that if you look at where we are today in the world, not just our technology, but also the culture that we build is part of what's going to allow us to enrich the lives of everyone with the way that they interact and use data, and also allow us to deliver consistently over time better products for our customers. So some of the things that I'm especially proud of with Micron, in addition to our technology, is our commitment to ESG, environmental, social, and governance programs. In that area, there's a number of things that Micron's done that I think are noteworthy. We've actually achieved pay equity for women and disabled people on a global basis, which is something that we really had to work hard to achieve, and we were able to. Additionally, we have strong commitments to the environment and reducing our carbon footprint, which is something that I think is critical as we enable the next generation data centers. So our commitment to our ethics and our values help us to attract the kind of talent and the diversity of thought which allow us to continue to innovate and, of course, be collaborative in a manner that brings better products to our customers like you.
Yeah, I think that's great. The way you're blending your technology leadership with your social leadership, your environmental leadership, that's just excellent.
Alistair, thank you so much for coming today. It's really a pleasure to have you here and a great honor to work with you and IBM.
That was my pleasure, and I really enjoyed the conversation.